Welcome dear learners. This lecture has been developed based on selected reference available. It has been divided into the following subtitles, namely Introduction, Basic Elements of Magic, Forms of Magic, Types of Magic, Magic and Religion, Magic and Science, Intellectual reading of magic for the discussion. Shall we now go to the topic? Dear learners, objectives first. After reading this unit, you will be able to know the notion of magic in society, to analyze the classification of magic, its need for people and its results, to differentiate between magic, religion and science. First, introduction. Magic, sometimes spelled magic, is an ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations and or cultural lineage with an intention to invoke, manipulate or otherwise manifest supernatural forces, beings or entities in the natural world. It is a categorical yet often ambiguous term which has been used to refer to a wide variety of beliefs and practices, frequently considered separate from both religion and science. The English word magic comes from the Latin term magus. Magic is a performance, magic is a belief, magic is a ritual practice and magic is related to supernatural power. The magic is rooted in belief and is performed in rituals. Thus, magic is related to religion. Magic is also a traditional healing form. Magic is common to all societies. First, we will go to basic elements of magic. The famous anthropologist Malinowski attempts to understand the magic approach. He argued that the highest imperative practice by human society evolves with time. Magic is the rational knowledge of the earliest culture in a precise manner. He concluded with 4 elements in the magic, that is spell, material, technique and expression of emotion. First one, spell. The first and most significant element of magic is spell or chanting of mantra or sacred words. This is helpful for the performer to get their destiny or aim. Spell also connects the human being to the supernatural power. It has 3 characteristics, that is recitation of the spell, reveal of the situation and the procedure to end the ritual. Second, material. In every ritual ceremony involving magic, certain materials are used, such as the use of leaf, fruits, vegetables, turmeric, bone, water, ashes, animals for sacrifice, etc. Third one, technique. Priest or shaman used to employ several undisclosed scientific procedures or methods. These procedures follow a systematic methodology to achieve the desired goals. Fourth, expression of emotion. Magicians used to control their emotion while dealing with supernatural powers. Weak emotion leads to failure of the ritual and destruction of a magician's career to handle supernatural powers. Hence, it is expected from them to have a sense of anger in the face before the face natural powers. Next, forms of magic. First one, sympathetic magic. Sympathetic magic, also known as imitative magic, is a type of magic based on imitation or correspondence. The concept of magic associates the relationship between an act and its effect rests on analogy or a connection rather than empirical or scientific validation. The great Tamil poet Ilangovadigal wrote about the Kundrakuravai in Silappatikaram. Kundrakuravai means magical ritual performance in ancient period. Especially, he wrote about Kundrakurava tribes' rain ritual. They imitated rain, thunder and lightning movements in their performances and thus expected the rains. Majumdar speaks about the similar practices carried out by Munda and Ko tribes in North India. They used fire sticks to create smoke and used big stones to create sounds. The smoke meant clouds and the sound of the stones meant the thunder. Second, contagious magic. Contagious magic is based on the principle that things or persons once in contact can afterward influence each other. In other words, it is believed that there is a permanent relationship between an individual and any part of his or her body. As a consequence, believers must take special precautions with their hair, fingernails, teeth, clothes and feces. If anyone obtained these objects, magic would be performed on them and thus would affect the person from whom the material was obtained. For instance, someone would use your fingernail clippings in a magical ritual that would cause you to love them or to fall in and die. Traditional societies use a number of animals in their magico-religious pair. Normally, animal parts and products such as the exoskeleton, bone and glandular secretion are used as sprays, pendants and amulets to ward off the perceived evil spirits. In many places, it is a common practice to offer animal sacrifices to appease specific deities and ancestral spirits. The sacrificial offerings are regarded as gifts to the deities that are supposed to maintain health and general well-being of those involved in the process. The animal species most frequently used in traditional folk medicine and practices have been recorded in different socio-cultural contexts. Throughout the world, tribal people have faith in animal-based magico-religious therapy to heal a number of diseases. We will discuss types of magic. First one, white magic, second, black magic. White magic is largely accepted by the tribal people. The magic is used for the social benefits and welfare for the community. White magic can be classified into two types. Firstly, the magic performed to eliminate certain kinds of danger like protection from wild animals, ghosts and bad weather in their hunting or fishing or harvesting expeditions. And this type of magics also used so that the tribe would return successful from their expeditions. The second type of white magic is associated with bigger threats to the existence of the society or tribe in its entirety, like the threat of thought, famine, earthquake and the spread of diseases, etc. White magic has traditionally referred to the use of supernatural powers, and this type of magic is used for selfless purposes. Practitioners of white magic have been given titles such as wise men or women healers, white witches or wizards. Many of these people claimed to have the ability to do such things because of knowledge or power that was passed on to them through hereditary lines or by some event later in their lives. White magic was practiced for healing and to receive blessings, and white magic was practiced using charms, incantations, prayers and songs. Black magic. Black magic, also known as dark magic, has traditionally referred to the use of supernatural powers, and this type of magic is used for evil and selfish purposes. This type of magic is associated with the devil or with evil spirits. Black magic indicates the darker side of the magic practices. It has no social acceptance and causes harm to society or individuals in general. The contagious magic is more or less similar to the type of magic. This type of magic brings damage, injury, torture to a person or a family. This type of magic intended to harm an individual or a family. Black magic usually results in injuring, destroying the public or social image of a person, or results in spreading ill or diseases among masses and thus causing sufferings or death. Throughout the history, the practice of black magic was generally perceived as an act of vengeance or an act born out of jealousy. Fourth, magic and religion. Magical practices were very significant in the society in prehistory or even today in the tribal societies. Religion and magic became conceptually same in tribal society. Magic is the ancient belief system of society. It will arise from emotional stress and the crisis of human skills. Significant aspects of magic are its limited procedure and skill and oral practices. Rarely written evidence exists. Magic also implies the connection between humans and supernatural power. Religion came after the magic and after a lot of societal changes. Same as religion, when people could not find any solution to the problems that they faces, the magic began to make its presence. The practice of magic usually involved self-contained rich activities and systematic procedures. It also involved the invoking of the supernatural power to resolve the societal issue. The purpose could be either negative, that is to cause damage to an individual or to the society, or positive, that is to seek protection from evil and to grant success for their food gathering mission. Even though there are similarities between magic and religion, Henk Versnell argued that magic and religion functioned in different ways. These differences are: first, intention. Magic is employed to achieve clear and immediate goals for an individual, whereas religion is less purpose motivated and has its sights set on longer term goals. Attitude: magic is manipulative as the process is in the hands of the user. Especially, it is an instrumental coercive manipulation opposed to the religious attitude of personal and supplicate negotiation. Action: magic is a technical exercise that often requires professional skills to fulfill an action, whereas religion is not dependent upon these factors but the will and sentiment of the gods. Social interest: the goals of magic run counter to the interests of a society, in that personal gain for an individual gives from an unfair advantage over peers, whereas religion has more benevolent and positive social functions. This separation of the terms religion and magic in a functional sense is disputed. It has been argued that abandoning the term magic in favor of discussing belief in spiritual beings will help to create a more meaningful understanding of all associated ritual practices. However, using the word magic alongside religion is one method of trying to understand the supernatural world, even if some other term can eventually take its place. Magic and religion are intertwined with each other. They are inseparable and integral parts of the tribal society. Magic is nothing but closely associated to religion. The technique and methods used in magic also fulfill the religious desire. Human being created the magic systems after having survived much of the natural disasters and after having understood the functioning of the nature. Magic was the system through which human being intended to understand the nature is a scientific manner. Magic was supposed to control the nature. The knowledge of the nature gave the performer the power of control it. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes it was a failure. The success remained at the failures were ignored and rejected. Next we will go to magic practitioner and religious practitioner. Shaman. Shaman is the intermediate person who served between human beings and supernatural power. The terminology shaman comes from the word sha, that represented to know, and so shaman as a whole could be defined as the one who knows. Shaman claimed that unseen supernatural beings or spirits pass into the human world to govern and manage human belief, faith, devotion and loyalty. The shaman can be a spiritual healer, counselor or the guardian. Sometimes she or he also performed as the medicinal doctor, psychologist or mystic individual who helped the village recover from disease, flood, famine or drought, etc. It Kudiya tribal group in Odisha. When a Kudiya's child gets sick for the first time, it is considered the right time for naming ceremony to be performed. Thereafter, the shaman, that is priest, is called for the ritual ceremony, who after performing magical recital sacrifices an animal to finish the ceremony. The tool used for cutting the umbilical cord is mixed with sacrificed animal blood, so that child will remain healthy for the rest of his or her life. Every tribal group has its own kind of specialists who dealt with societal and community issues. He or she is decided either through hereditary lineage or through apprenticeship. The name of this specialist is different from one tribe to another. The Kani tribe lives together in small communities. Kani settlement system in Podigai Hills is that a few families live in a cluster in the fringes of the hills. Even though they live in different areas as clusters, they do follow their common customs and practices. Every Kanikara settlement has a community council for maintaining social control. It consists of the Mutukani. Mutukani is a chief. The Vilakani is convener, and the Plathi is physician and priest. Since they have fear over divine spirit, they never select a spot where they feel the presence of divine spirit. In Podigai Hills, they believe that nearly 101 gods exist. Hence, they want to live away from their presence. The Kani Plathi recites the mantras to find out the movement of the divine spirit using the musical instrument called kokkarai and sing songs called satupattu. Following Plathi, Mutukani confirms the area for residential purpose. The tribal physician among the Kanis are known as Plathis. They are the main sources for the medicinal wisdom. Much of the tribal medical knowledge among the Kani is administered by the Plathis. They are believed to have magical powers and perform various rituals and chant mantras with the help of instrument named kokkarai. They are allowed exclusively to use this musical instrument. In religion, the magic practitioner, an individual or a small group of people, is exclusively recognized as the expert in religious knowledge. This exclusive right cannot be shared among the other members of a community or society. The practice remains with the practitioner. It can be transformed to the rightful person who is decided either by hereditary lineage or by proper apprenticeship. Some magico-religious practitioners are considered more extremely powerful than the other practitioners because of their special skill and knowledge. Apprentice goes through several ritual process, training and practice to become a magico-religious practitioner in a tribal community or society. Each tribe has got its own magico-religious person who may be identified as priest or shaman or a monk or a saint in the normal parlance. But each tribe has got its own specific name for its magico practitioner. They are accorded a special privilege and status in a tribal society. People show their respect for them by offering pigs, buffaloes, fruits or edible items to them. Practitioner in return guaranteed to cure the people's psychological or emotional, physical diseases through indigenous herbal knowledge and through mantra and tantra. They are the mediator between human beings and supernatural being, that is soul, spirit, etc. Witch and sorcerer. Witchcraft, sorcery and magic are correlated to each other and they are all attempts to control the supernatural being. through which harmony or destruction is done to the society. It is believed by the people that humans, when they are beset by misfortunes, illnesses, risks, injuries and such dangers, they need to overcome them. To overcome these ills, these individuals with magical power or people with power over supernatural beings come into play. These two terms explain the connection between the human and magic, but role of these practitioners is unclear. The term which identifies someone alleged to practice socially prohibited forms of magic, while sorcerer refers to someone who intentionally takes on the role of magical practitioner, often with the intent to harm. Evans Pritchard cited in his book that witchcraft is not only a physical trait, but it is also inherited. It is transmitted by unilinear descent from parent to child. The evil eyes refer to the activities associated with bad eyes that cause illness or misfortune to any person who comes in contact with it. In every society, we can observe this kind of activity. For instance, a child getting illness is associated with the effect of the evil eye cast on it. Not all illness suggested the evil eyes, but usually it is associated with some kind of awkward or non-seasonal illness that victim contacted, which suggested the contact of the evil eye. The person having an evil eye most probably would praise or compliment this is outward so. Actually, during such praise, the evil eye is cast on the child or person. The misfortunes around the family, like the reduction of wealth, continued quarrel or domestic violence in happy family. Such misfortunes, when occurred, were interpreted as the effect of the evil eye. Next, we will go to magic and science. Magic involves the use of the basic law of nature gained by simple observation. Magic accepts the natural law. Magic also believes in the presence of a supernatural power or being or spirit. Magic is usually employed by specialists or priests. It deals with the supernatural world. Failure of magic leads to taboo or societal prohibition. Magic is based on experience, hope, desire, and it is an early way of understanding of nature. Science is an advanced form of observation and logic. Science also accepts the nature's law. It is based on rationality. Facts are evidence, and it does not believe in any supernatural being. No specialists are needed. Anyone can use science. Science is optimistic and accepts the challenges and strives for newer technologies. Science deals with the natural world and cosmos. Its failure adds to new possibilities and new findings. Science evolves with times and is used by modern day society. Finally, intellectual reading of magic. Magic is a non-modern phenomenon. During the late 19th and early 20th century, Western intellectuals perceived the practice of magic to be a sign of a primitive mentality. Since the 19th century, academics in various disciplines have employed the term magic, but have defined it in different ways and used it in reference to different things. One approach associated with the anthropologist Edward Tyler and James G. Fraser uses the term to describe beliefs in hidden sympathies between objects and allow one to influence the other. Defined in this way, magic is portrayed as the opposite to science. An alternative approach associated with the sociologist Marcel Mauss and Emily Durkheim employs the term to describe private rites and ceremonies and contrasts it with religion, which it defines as a communal and organized activity. By the 90s, many scholars were rejecting the term's utility for scholarship. They argued that the label drew arbitrary lines between similar beliefs and practices, that were alternatively considered religious. Edward Tylor, an early anthropologist, used the term magic in reference to sympathetic magic, an idea that is associated with his concept of animism. In his 1871 book Primitive Culture, Tylor characterized magic as beliefs based on the error of mistaking ideal analogy for real analogy. In Tylor's view, primitive man, having come to associate in thought those things which he found by experience to be connected in fact, proceeded erroneously to invert this action and to conclude that association in thought must involve similar connection in reality. He thus attempted to discover, to foretell and to cause events by means of process which we can now see to have only an ideal significance. Tylor was dismissive of magic, describing it as one of the most pernicious delusions that ever vexed mankind. Tylor's views proved highly influential and helped to establish magic as a major topic of anthropological research. James Frazer regarded magic as the first stage in human development, to be followed by religion and then science. Tylor's ideas were adapted and simplified by James Frazer. He used the term magic to mean sympathetic magic, describing it as a practice relying on the magician's belief that things act on each other at a distance through a secret sympathy, sometimes which he described as an invisible ether. He further divided this magic into two forms, the homeopathic, that is imitative, mimetic, and the contagious. The former was the idea that like produces like, or that the similarity between two objects could result in one influencing the other. The latter was based on the idea that contact between two objects allowed the two continue to influence one another at a distance. Like Tylor, Frazer viewed magic negatively, describing it as the bastard sister of science, arising from one great disaster fallacy. Where Frazer differed from Tylor was in characterizing a belief in magic as a major stage in humanity's cultural development, describing it as part of a tripartite division in which magic came first, religion came second, and eventually science came third. For Frazer, all early societies started as believers in magic, with some of them moving away from this and into religion. He believed that both magic and religion involved a belief in spirits, but that they differed in the way that they responded to these spirits. For Frazer, magic constrains to coerces these spirits, while religion focuses on conciliating or propitiating them. The intellectualist approach to defining magic is associated with the two prominent British anthropologists Edward Tylor and James G. Frazer. This approach viewed magic as the theoretical opposite of science and came to preoccupy much anthropological thought on the subject. This approach was situated within the evolutionary models which underpinned thinking in the social sciences during the early 19th century. The first social scientist to present magic as something that predated religion in an evolutionary development was Herbert Spencer in his A System of Synthetic Philosophy. He used the term magic in reference to sympathetic magic. Spencer regarded both magic and religion as being rooted in false speculation about the nature of objects and their relationship to other things. Ma's ideas were adopted by Durkheim in his 1912 book The Elementary Forms of the Religious Life. Durkheim was of the view that both magic and religion pertained to sacred things, that is to say, things set apart and forbidden. Where he saw them as being different was in their social organization. Durkheim used the term magic to describe things that were inherently antisocial, existing in contrast to what he referred to as a church, the religious beliefs shared by a social group. In his words, there is no church of magic. Durkheim expressed the view that there is something inherently anti-religious about the manoeuvres of the magician, and that a belief in magic does not result in binding together those who adhere to it, nor in uniting them into a group leading a common life. Durkheim's definition encounters problems in situations such as the rites performed by vicars in which acts carried out communally have been regarded either by practitioners or observers as being magical. Let us sum up this lecture with these words. The interpretation and understanding of magic practices changed from time to time. The earlier society considered magic as a scientific practice to heal the diseases. Some scholars argued that magic came earlier and religion at a later stage of human cultural historical period. Magic always remained somewhere between belief and faith, but magic is related to the symbol that expresses the belief system. It uses rituals or actions to contact the supernatural being. People of many cultures are still practicing religious spirituality and medicinal role in society. Nowadays, magic is an act of illusion for entertainment purposes. I hope you all must have enjoyed the session and it may have enriched the knowledge and notion of magic in society. Dear learners, we will meet with another schedule. Thank you.